It is time to give Bottas the axe. Yes, it is time to get rid of Valtteri Bottas out of Formula One forever. Now, let me ask you guys, you ever have that friend or that person in your life who they emote the feelings of a loser? There's just something about them that's weak or pathetic. They can't get their lives together. They don't have the confidence, and they never will, no matter what you do to help them, guide them, give them advice or clarity on the situation they're going through. This is Valtteri Bottas, a guy who had so much backing from Finnish billionaires to get into Formula One. He shows up at the Williams team, and this was Bottas' greatest strength. He was able to put in very good race results at teams that didn't really technically deserve those results. When he was at Williams, he would put in very good performances, and people would be like, man, this driver is very, very good. He should be given a shot at a better team. And what was his biggest luck? His biggest luck was that Nico Rosberg could no longer take the pressure at Mercedes. He finally beat Lewis Hamilton, and that's really what set up for anybody to know who Valtteri Bottas was, other than a guy running in one of the worst teams in the back of the pack. So he gets to Mercedes, and you said, you know what? He got tons of podiums with Williams, and they didn't really deserve it. So he should be able to do something. 1 year after the next, a stinker. This guy was at Mercedes for not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons. The 5, probably 2016 was their most dominant, but 5 seasons that they just had an incredible, the fastest car. He and Lewis Hamilton, to this day, hold the record for most 1-2 finishes for any Formula One team. And Ferrari, Red Bull, and McLaren have been around way longer than Mercedes. Okay, so this guy put together 10 victories over 5 seasons. Okay, Lewis Hamilton has 103 victories, but he was there for a couple more seasons. This guy averaged 2 victories a season. And specifically, in one season, he didn't even get a victory for the team. So this guy would constantly say, no, I'm getting on top of it. He'd win the first race, right? That happened for 2 seasons, 2019, 2020. Won the first race of the season. Oh, I'm back. Oh yeah, Bottas, man, he's gonna challenge Hamilton. It's not gonna be one guy walking away with, having a 150, 200 point lead over his teammate, and everybody would big up him, and then guess what would happen? Completely fall off the cliff, not finish a race in 12th position, never stay consistent, and Lewis would just walk away with it every freaking season. And we actually have now communications from Bottas saying that during those times he had to see a psychiatrist. He felt at the lowest point of his life. He went through a divorce because he couldn't mentally handle the competition of Lewis and the team and stuff. Okay, then get out of Formula One. It made our lives terrible to watch this Mercedes team just totally dominate. And I know a lot of people are saying, that's what Red Bull is doing now. I'm not a Lewis Hamilton fan. I'm not a Total Wolff fan. I am not a Mercedes fan. It was brutal. It was pulling teeth to watch these races weekend in, weekend out, just a total domination. And Bottas, did anyone ever consider him to be the second best driver? And how many times did he finish second in the championship? Multiple freaking times. And it was always a total joke because no one ever gave him the credit of being the second best driver at, the entire grid of Formula One. So it was a total joke. And now he's at Alfa Romeo. He gets him a bunch of points the first season. I knew this would happen. He needed Total Wolff, which was like daddy, to come in, let me get you a 3-year deal, because all Bottas ever said is, I can't handle being on 1-year deals. That was the stress at Mercedes. The stress should have been that you're not getting any results and they're letting you stay there because somehow there's this egregious thing where Total Wolff is his manager and essentially pulls all the strings at Mercedes. There was a complete conflict of interest. He should have never been able to stay there all those seasons. But then he gets a 3-year deal at Alfa Romeo, okay? First year he shows up, he did exactly what he did at Williams all the time. He'd get tons of points for a mid-pack team, being essentially a glorified journeyman driver, and people being like, oh man, he's not too bad. We shouldn't have been too rough on him. This season, an 8th and a 10th so far out of 11 races. Zhou is not much better, but Zhou, finished 2nd or 3rd in the F2 championship? No one ever had high hopes for him. But people acted like Valtteri Bottas was this great driver, and he's just not. We need to get him rid out of Formula One. There's so many younger drivers who should be there, who don't have all these mental issues, who don't get down on themselves, who don't need to be talked to. I mean, there was so many times where Toto Wolff was talking to him, and there was this video I saw of him walking through a garage, or maybe it was like his last meeting with Toto Wolff and the Mercedes, and they were doing this promotional video, and I swear to you, it was like a dad talking to his 5-year-old child saying, you weren't too bad in the baseball game. And he looks up to Toto like it was like his dad consoling him after a bad result in a baseball game. It was so pathetic, and it was so condescending, and it was so childish to watch. And ever since then, I'm just like, this guy should not be in Formula One. Go somewhere else. I don't even think racing's for this guy anymore. He's too much of a head case. He should just go off Finland. He's got more money than he ever has. He's being paid at Alfa Romeo some ridiculous sum to be there, and just stay away from Formula One, because out of the drivers that, Yuki Tsunoda's crazy and emotional, all this stuff, this guy's just like dead. He's got no emotions, and you just feel like he's this depression case who cannot get out of his own way. And that's really what he's been like ever since his second season in Mercedes, when he realized he'd never win the championship. That's really what Bottas has been. So it's time to give him the axe. It's time for maybe to even give Zhou Guanyu the axe and completely replace that team. Let me know if you agree or what your thoughts are on Bottas, because I have heard so many people on so many different ways about how they feel about him. Comment below. I'll get back to you. Subscribe and like the video on top of that. Thank you very much.